So when I say being all in, it means this. You're intentional about doing things, about thinking about things, about saying things, about a mindset. Not people with good intentions. I talked to the faculty about this last week. Good intentions are really honestly kind of bad. Because we use them as excuses not to get stuff done. Like how many of you said, I've had great intentions this year of studying and not being behind, and then you don't do it. I have good intentions about doing devotions every night, and you don't do it. Good intentions allow us to be lazy, and they're a good excuse. I have good intentions. You can't be that mad at me. I don't want good intentions. I want people with intentionality. And that's what it means to be all in. You're going to think about this. This is your priority. I'm not asking you to do this. I'm challenging you to do this because you can. So 3 quick things in the 10 minutes or the few minutes I have left about this passage. Being all in requires you being intentional about your faith. Like in this story, the widow didn't know the oil would run dry. She had no way of knowing. She trusted that this would be multiplied. And she had no idea that was going to happen. And I don't think most of us go in all in because you don't know how things are going to turn out and you're scared. Like freshmen probably have a lot of feelings right now. You don't know how this year is going to turn out. You're probably pretty anxious right now. You're just hoping to make it through break. And all 700 of you in the comments, that could be a very scary place. New students, friends. I mean, maybe you don't know if you're going to have friends or make friends, and you don't know if you want to go up to that person. They look really cool. Be like, hey, can you be my friend? And you're like, oh, no. Because that would be horrible. That would be horrible, wouldn't it? Because you're not sure how it's going to turn out. Like, you want to ask someone to a dance, but you want to make sure that person's going to say yes, because like the worst thing would be walking up to be like, hey, you want to go to the dance with me? No, not you. Crush. You want to make sure you turn out like seniors, you got to make college choices, career choices pretty soon. You're scared because you want to make the wrong one. So it holds you back. So many times you're scared and you don't trust God. Being all in means you trust and give it to Him, and that is hard. We don't know how it's going to turn out. I can't tell you how anything's going to turn out. But I can tell you if you trust God, it's going to be okay. May not be awesome all the time, but you're going to be okay. The second thing about being all in is being impactful. This lady impacted Elijah. She didn't wait for people to impact her. She was the one doing the work. She made a difference. She changed culture. She didn't wait for someone else to do it. She did it. And that's one of my challenges for you. And she was a widow. And back then, widows had zero social standing. Zero. But she's like, I don't care. I'm going to do it. I'm going to impact people. But some of you think, I can't impact anybody. No one cares what I think. Not true. I'm just a freshman. If the seniors won't lead, you can lead. I'm hoping the seniors lead, but someone's going to step up and lead in this place. I challenge the seniors, but freshmen can do it too. So can sophomores and juniors. Well, I'm not popular. Doesn't matter. And who cares? You can still lead. You can still be all in. No one will listen. I disagree. But most of you use that excuses to not do anything. You use an excuse not to have those conversations with people, not to call people out, not to be an impactor. So my challenge for you is to be impactful with your words. And if someone talks mean about a person, about like male or female, or about a race, you need to stop it. We don't do that here. Make your words be impactful. My challenge is for you guys, especially you seniors, is to be bold. And you walk up and go, hey, we don't talk like that. We build people up. Our words are impactful. Be a culture changer, not just one who waits for everyone to do stuff for you. You can do it. One person can make a difference. How we talk to each other, how we treat each other. We are all made in the image of God. We are sons and daughters of the King. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Every single one of you is. And you have the Spirit of living God living inside of you. That should change how you talk to people. And finally, the last way we could be all in is reminding us someone was all in for us. The widow of the story reminds us that she was willing to give up her life and the life of her son for a stranger. That's what Jesus did for us. He He could have done it a lot of different ways. It reminds me of Ephesians 7, which says, in him we have redemption through his blood and the forgiveness of sins, which he lavishes grace on us. And I love the word lavish. I mean, he's just tossing it upon you. It's a ridiculous amount. And if God lavishes grace on us, so all those things we do wrong don't count against us because Jesus took care of it, why can't we be lavish with grace upon each other?